Well, hello, Reese. This is Kicking It with the
Mm,
Crosbys, and
good day.
appreciate everyone jumping on and listening to us today. And we got a great little show set up for you. So we're going to talk about it is playoff time in the NFL. So we're going to dive
Woo!
into NFL playoffs, specifically with the Packers versus the Eagles. Have some playoff Packer memories that both of us, were involved in a sense. It's always a family thing. I've been hearing a lot of comparisons to this Packers team in the last 2 years to 2009, 2010 Packers teams.
Ooh.
I don't love the comparisons. I feel like it's a bit of a reach. So we'll dive into that a little bit on how we feel, comparing past teams and past, events and things like that, and trying to gain these connections so that we all feel really comfortable and better about, what's about to happen ahead of us. So we'll dive into that. We're going to have to talk about Carabao Cup, which we now know as an energy drink, right?
Yeah,
Is that what we learned last time? So, we'll
exactly.
get all the energy, all the juice around the Carabao Cup, which is a soccer cup in England. And unfortunately, our boys in red did not come out
Oof.
victorious, but there are two legs. So we have that to look forward to. We'll dive into, like I said, playoff memories, some different things. I'm wearing my all blacks hat, so might talk about some journeys that we've gone on. Reese went to New Zealand this fall,
Yeah.
so I would love to hear some of his thoughts on that. But let's hear a little from you, Reese. How you doing today, buddy?
Oh man, just crushing it out here. It's freezing cold in Nashville. It's gonna snow. It's outrageous, but hey, we're normal day job, work from home life, so no complaints over here.
Yeah, that's the same for me. I was on the radio this morning. We had an interview with Mark Murphy, which was great. So
Mm.
if once you listen to this, check this out. Go to that same Odyssey app and get on the Mason Crosby Show podcast and listen to that interview with Mark Murphy, because it was gold. It was a good one, and he gave some insight into his time as Packers president, what that means to him. Obviously, the draft coming up in Green Bay this spring, which we'll definitely dive into later on, and as we move closer to that. But I want to really get heavy into the playoffs here in the NFL, where in multiple ways, obviously college football playoffs as well. We're going to
Oh
make some
yeah.
picks and our predictions for some of these games. Um, you know, Actually, I'm going to segue to that because that's on my mind
Oh,
right now. And we're going to talk
is
about
it?
college football playoffs first, and then we'll dive into the NFL. So, Notre Dame versus Penn State, Thursday night football. Um, just tell me your initial thoughts about that matchup, if you have any, and then I'll tell you kind of how I feel. And I don't know if you saw this. There was a clip. So, coach for Penn State, James Franklin, talked about Notre Dame not being in a conference and how he believes
Ooh.
right next to the Notre Dame head coach. He's like, no shot at Notre Dame, no shot at Notre Dame, but everything
Except
should
here's
be
your
in a
shot at Notre
conference,
Dame.
or we don't play in conference championships. So, what do you think about that?
Well, it's like the whole saying, it's like, with all due respect. It's like it doesn't mean
Exactly.
you're gonna say whatever the heck you want.
Sure as heck
Like
does. You like that? Look at me.
with
I'm
all
full of
due
movie
respect.
quotes.
That idea ain't worth more than a velvet painting of a whale and a dolphin getting it on. But like it's ridiculous. Like to say something like that, like you attack someone and then you're just like, but it's not personal. It's like it is personal. It's like it's one
It's
of those
very
things
personal.
that what was his goal almost? Is it to like obviously promote the game? Is it to rile the other team, get him rattled a little bit? Is it to like get his team behind him? Like, yeah, that's right, coach, we got him. Like it's interesting how that works because yeah, sure, they're not in a conference,
They're in the
the
semifinals of the playoffs. They're
that's what I'm
obviously
saying. So it's
it,
like,
like
okay,
this
hold
might
on a
have been a
second.
conversation like, you lose the Big Ten championship and you don't make the playoffs and Notre
Mhm.
Dame goes in, then
Yeah,
you're like, okay, that's ridiculous. But you're both in the semifinals. So Notre Dame's obviously a good team.
right.
Where they are record wise, even if they lost like Penn State did in their conference championship, Notre Dame might still be in this position, would still have been in the playoffs. So that argument is weird. Mine is more the concept of why in the world, if there is a team that doesn't play in a conference, if why play the conference championships at all? Like this whole college football playoff system is messed up. It has issues. You have 12 teams. The 4 teams that got a bye that were supposed to be the best teams, they got conference championships, all the stuff, get buys ranked 1 through 4. They all lose their first game. They're all out. So now
Well,
we have
then it goes to the whole argument of like, what does a conference even mean anymore? Because one of the best teams, the only SEC team left is a Big 12 team. It's Texas.
exactly the historically Big 12 team. Yep.
And then you have,
and I don't know how Texas is still finding a way. I mean, their path was better. I mean, Arizona State, like how it wasn't seeded differently, makes no sense. Like that path.
Yeah.
The fact that Oregon
Arizona
had to play Ohio State.
Arizona State
crazy.
Is a Pac-12 school. They're not a Big 12 school. They are a Big 12 school, but they're not. So that's my whole argument. The best team in the Big 12, what is it? No, Big 10 is. I'm confused.
Where am I right now?
Where am I? Like is Oregon, and they're a Pac-12 school. So again, like all these schools, the best in the SEC is SMU, and the ACC is SMU, and that again is not an ACC team. Like these conferences of like bashing Notre Dame for not being in one. It's like no one is.
They're all new now, anyway.
Everyone's new. It's all different. Like so, what does that even matter? All right.
So your suggestion is no conferences at all. Just
every man for himself.
Open. Just schedule.
I want to play you. I want to play you.
Whoever you want to play. We'll just see like where the money is. Chase the money.
Chase the money.
Yeah. Stop paying players again. Like just let it all go to the schools and the NCAA, and let's just chase the money. No conferences. It's done.
It feels like at this point, anyways, players moving around so much. It's like every day at recess, you're just like, okay, I got Billy, you're on my team, and like Logan, you're over here, and it's just every week. Let's just pick new players because that's what's happening, anyways.
This guy's good right now. Oh man, he kind of got slighted, so he's gonna transfer to the the private middle school and go do something else. So
might as well.
It is an interesting world in the college playoff world that we're living in, but with these new alignments of conferences, things like that, I'm a big proponent. Like you want to have a playoff system, you have to do it maybe more like playoffs in other leagues, in professional leagues, like how they do it in basketball, how they do in football, like where your schedule is, or your record is, if you will. Like so it's like you have your records, and then in college, some teams have the same records, they're in different conferences, whatever. Then just have that committee. They know who the best team is. Like you've seen them play. Like at that point, we could feel okay with them putting the 12 best teams matched up against each other. Like it's the same thing with me in the NFL playoffs. I don't understand why division winners get a bye. It doesn't make any, or not a bye, get a home game. Why do they automatically get a home game? It doesn't make any sense to me. So let's finish this talk on the Notre Dame Penn State game, and I want to hear who you think is going to win that game, and then we'll jump to the Ohio State Texas game. We'll stay with college football for a moment, and then we'll jump into the NFL playoffs. So you go, Reese. Notre Dame, Penn State. I know you're a Golden Domer. Don't pick Penn State.
I'm not going to pick Penn State.
Thank you. Do you think Notre Dame's going to beat Penn State?
Notre Dame's going to win.
That was a setup. They're not going to win.
You didn't set me up. I was not bamboozled. That was 100%. I was ready to go. I was locked in. I wasn't even actually listening to anything that you've been saying this whole time.
Well, I did exactly what I wanted because I wanted Penn State. I mean, I was going to pick Penn State the whole time.
I know what a leprechaun is. Do you know what a Nittany lion is? Probably not.
I've actually met the Notre Dame mascot, who like the leprechaun, and in Dublin. I was in Dublin, amazing. Ireland, and I got to meet the former Notre Dame mascot.
That sounds like a fishing story. All of a sudden, you go to Ireland and you meet an actual real life leprechaun.
It was running around. I just saw him, like he was dancing through the streets, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, we have to hang out."
Pint of Guinness in hand.
You can meet him too. He's Charlie Limkill's friend. Yeah, so they were hanging out in Dublin, ran into him, got to hang out with the former Notre Dame mascot, which was a privilege of mine.
So. It's like an unknown bucket list item you didn't know that you had until it had, and you're like, I'm putting it on the bucket list, check it off because that's pretty legit.
It was a quick ad and a quick check. So,
all right, well now, okay, so that's what we got. Okay, Reese, Notre Dame, Mason, Penn State.
Yeah. Not even
Perfect.
close.
All
Penn
right,
State's going
and
to push.
then let's move to the next one. So we got Ohio State versus the University of Texas in the Cotton Bowl, which is not played in the Cotton Bowl. It's at Jerry World, AT&T
Is
Stadium, which
is
is
probably for the
misleading.
best right now
Oh my
because of the
gosh, with the
weather
snow.
going on out there.
Yeah,
Like
seriously. But
that's
all
going to
right,
be
well, yeah,
dicey.
let's go with this game a little bit. And so Ohio State, always seem to be a team to beat, always incredible. A lot of people hate them, and then a lot of people love them. And then you got Texas. Somehow they find a way to keep winning. And historically, Texas is an amazing powerhouse as well, but can't always seem to get to the final game, to the big moment. And we got the showdown there in Dallas. So what's your thoughts there?
Well, I mean, what the only team they've lost to this year is Georgia, right? So it's like
True.
Texas is sneaky because they're finding ways to win, right? And they scare me in that regard, where it's just like they're a team that has only lost to one team that's not in the playoffs anymore.
Yeah,
But Ohio State is a juggernaut. I
they
mean,
are.
Jeremiah Smith is unbelievable. Their defense is exceptional. Like this team
I,
is
I, I
something to be
always
reckoned
take
with.
that. I always take like almost like history of big games, history of championships. And I mean, no, Texas has those for sure, but like as far as consistently, Ohio
Yeah, it's
State's
been a
always
while.
there. It's like one of those things when you get to March Madness in basketball, it's like you want to bet on the teams that have been there, that have historically gone deep in the tournament, because it's a whole different ball game. Like we're talking the semifinals of college football playoffs.
So
And
you're saying Texas isn't ready yet? Like they're kind of getting back into the fold of being like nationally recognized as one of those teams, but it's been a little while.
yeah,
They're not quite ready to take that next step.
I mean, who knows? Yeah, I mean, like part of it is you got to have the ego, and Texas has the ego. That's what they're known for. Is whether they're good or not, their ego is there. And so like sometimes that's a really good thing. Sometimes it's not. So it just depends on you know what Quinn Ewers shows up. If it's the one who's going to throw 300 yards, or it's the one that's going to do the short dump passes and just let his athletes do the work. Which like, hey, respect in that too.
He
So
knows Ohio State. He played for them for a short
there you
moment.
go.
I think he got like 2 plays. So he knows some inside stuff. Like
Yeah.
they have to be careful with his knowledge, but I know you're not going to pick Texas.
No, I would never in
Like
a million years. Yeah, we can just skip this one because, like, so I'm a Texas Tech graduate, and so alumni Reckham Tech Raider power, let's go. And
yeah,
so
they have no
Texas is
power.
going to lose. I have actually Ohio State winning 129-0. Actually, is my
That's
prediction.
a good line. I would probably not bet on that line, but I think it would be I feel solid about that. So I have Ohio State on the Mason Crosby show this morning. I picked Ohio State as well. Like I am really high on Ohio State. I think they got like the fact they didn't have to play in the Big Ten championship, like how they've kind of gone through this playoffs, like they are the best team
Yeah,
in NCAA football right now. So
yeah.
uh
Well,
yeah,
and like all personal aspects aside of everything, like still Ohio State. Like truthfully, like that's just where I see it
yeah.
panning out. But
And the only advantage I think Texas has, Ohio State fans will still travel well, but they
big
are
time,
playing in Dallas. I mean, they're
right?
playing in Texas, which is wild. There could be travel issues. Maybe Ohio State fans can't even get in. And then it's just like it's only Texas fans that could drive
Yeah.
there. That would be crazy. It
I've
just reminds
historic
me of what's that?
I was gonna say I've historically rooted against, Ohio State forever because of, Cody McGrath. My entire life has been an Ohio State fan. So just to
so
rag
it's
on
a
my friend, and just
so this
troll,
is a
I'm
tough
always
one.
rooted against him. So it's been tough, but no, I'm gonna go with, my friend Cody and Ohio State this time. But yeah,
Well,
crazy playoff, crazy weather,
I
Dallas,
know.
like,
That's what I
ooh,
was.
ringing
Yeah.
a bell. I
Oh my
know.
goodness. Let's put this connection together as we segue
Beep,
to the
beep.
NFL playoffs.
Wordplay. Dallas,
Dallas,
snow,
ice,
playoffs.
driving. Yeah, hardship. It's tough to get there. So this is a story that like as we're diving into NFL playoff stuff now, we will talk about some playoff memories, some stories from our, my time playing and Reese's time going to games and the experiences that he had that are so unique from, how I experienced, playoff atmosphere in the football side. But the one that does, because they are this game, the Ohio State Texas game is in Dallas Stadium there. The last time, we went to the Super Bowl and won a Super Bowl was in that stadium, same situation. Big ice storm came through. We were shut
Oh
down
man.
all week. It was hard to get there. I remember you drove across from Lubbock, right?
Yeah, West
With
Texas. We were drove. It's give or take 5.5 hour drive, which is far enough as it is. I think it took about 16 hours to get
yeah,
there. Cars
just
everywhere on the
crazy.
sides of the roads. You couldn't do anything about it. You just had to go like literally 5-10 miles per hour for hours upon hours and hours, and missed dinners, couldn't get there. All kinds of stuff was happening. That was an absolute. I'll never forget that experience.
Well, and a lot of people, I've been hearing some talks, they're trying to get some good vibes, I think, going and some good feels about this Packers team and some of the similarities. And the only ones I can kind of look at and say, okay, yeah, I can see that. Played the Eagles first game of the season,
Hmm.
like lost to the Eagles though this year. I'm pretty sure we beat the Eagles the year that or did we lose to them? I don't even remember.
Well, I think lost. Yeah.
It's been a long time. Yeah. So they're looking at some of those similarities. Have to go play the Eagles in
Hmm.
the first round of the playoffs.
Seven
Same way.
seed going to the Eagles. Like
We were the
honestly,
sixth seed.
that
They didn't have 7 teams at that time.
there you go.
That's been
Last
my
seed,
argument.
sixth.
It was like this Packers team wouldn't have even made the playoffs had it been 2010. So
Fair.
conversation over. Sorry. Like
Comparison done.
comparison
Thank you for
done.
joining
Like,
our podcast
oh,
today.
they
Goodbye.
missed the playoffs. Oh, weird. It's 2010. Rewind. Packers not in the playoffs. But
Yeah, so I
anyway,
mean that
okay.
that year was yeah, you knocked the Eagles, the Falcons, and the Bears off, and then you cut Troy Polamalu's hair off in the Super Bowl. Lil Wayne quote, no big deal. No big deal.
Yep. Green and yellow, green and yellow.
That's what's
Did you
up.
like that?
I did. That was really good. That
Yeah.
was really good.
Well, Lil Wayne loves the Packers, so he'll be watching this game on Sunday as the Packers go to the Eagles. The Eagles are a 4.5 point favorite. That
Ooh.
line has changed a couple times. It I think started off at 3.5, went to 5.5, and now is at 4.5. And so it's kind of stabled out. I feel like that's like there's some uncertainty on like how this thing's going to turn out, and I think a lot of that has to do with the quarterbacks
Yeah.
situation. So Jalen Hurts has been out for a few weeks with a concussion. He's been in the protocol still. Just kind of coming out of that. There's, okay, is he going to be able to use his legs as much? Are they going to risk him getting injured again in that situation? They are definitely not the same team if he's not on the field. I don't think Kenny Pickett is going to lead that team to a Super Bowl. And then Jordan Love has a little elbow thing. He threw yesterday. I think he's doing okay. More than likely, he's going to be a go and be all right. But this matchup's intriguing. I've been talking a lot about talking about it on the radio, and I'm having a hard time, deciding. My heart wants Packers. Obviously, my
Yeah.
heart's like Packers are going to win this game. They're going to get this thing done. But this Eagles team is really good. So it's like I think they're almost kind of the team not talked about in the NFC.
Yeah.
It's like you have the Lions, you have the Vikings, easy ones to talk about. Eagles kind of get forgotten.
Yeah, which is great for them. That was a benefit for the Packers when you guys made your Super Bowl run was you were the underdog, the sixth seed, the last one in, and you had to win like the initial games leading up to it. So there's a little hype like, oh, the Packers are on a win streak. They might even make the playoffs. And then you did, and it was like, well, they made it. That was it. So like it's kind of the underdog. Everyone's taking everyone else, and that's a good thing. That's good. Like you want the focus to be elsewhere. You want the focus to be on other stuff. It cuts down on the chatter, that the guys might hear and what they're thinking about. But I think one thing that was interesting was it almost might have, I don't know if it showed their hand, but to me, I kind of read a little bit more into it was that, Jalen Hurts is out. And then they still rested Barkley and the backup quarterback and played like basically their third string quarterback in the last game of the season. So it's like, how hurt is Jalen Hurts? He's pretty hurt if you're
They're
resting
saving,
a backup quarterback. Like,
exactly. There's some uncertainty there.
And so, okay, let's see. Jalen Hurts doesn't play. Eagles, Packers, who wins?
I think that it definitely tilts it towards the Packers much more. I do think this is going to be, if you look at the strength of these teams at the moment, their defenses are both really good. Eagles have only allowed like just over 17 points a game, Packers around
Yeah.
19. So if you look at that, it's like, oh gosh, okay, like Eagles have an advantage just if you look statistically there. Eagles don't get to the quarterback all that much. Like Packers have more sacks than the
Yeah.
Eagles do by a few. There's just a lot of similarities with the defensive side of the ball. Very team defense oriented. Like there's not like a player that it's just like, okay, this guy, if he goes, this defense goes. They
Yeah.
all kind of have their role, play a part, do the things. I found it interesting. The corners for the Philadelphia Eagles, neither corner has an interception on the year. Yeah,
That's
Mitchell and Darius Slay,
wild.
no interceptions. Their safety, Gardner Johnson has 6 interceptions, and Blankenship, I think, has 4. So they kind of spread it out, but like the corners not having an interception seems a little odd to me. So it probably shows to kind of the type of defense they play.
Yeah.
A little softer coverage, keep everything in front of you. Good sure tackling, try to break on balls, do things like that. So they're not overly aggressive on that outside perimeter stuff. They are susceptible to the run game a little bit. Teams are averaging close to 100 yards a
Ooh,
game
a
against
carry.
them.
Oh man,
A
that's great.
carry, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
no,
so
that
if this Packers team, if we can run the ball with Josh Jacobs,
yeah.
make it simple for Jordan Love, try to be dynamic, do some interesting things, use the Eagles because they are an attacking, aggressive defense, especially in their front seven. So, like, if you can keep them and use their strengths against them and get them moving all over the field and really try to dictate to them what we want to do on offense, what this Packers team wants to do, they can go out there and get this win. And so, for me, I'm picking the Packers to win this game.
Love it.
And I think it's going to be tight though. I think the Packers win this game. Either they're going to have to, win it late, or they're going to have to keep the Eagles from scoring towards the end. But I do think they can. I don't think it's going to be a field goal game. I think they're going to win by about 4 points. So 24-20 is my pick for the Packers.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. Yeah, I mean, all they have to do is just score more than the Eagles, and they win it. So that's always the positive mindset, right?
That is, yes,
Simple as that.
that is
Well,
a
all right.
simple
So
simple
real quick, like
strategy.
going from the analytical side to just like the getting playoff memory, fan aspect of it. Like for you, you've played at Philadelphia a good amount,
Yeah.
and then obviously in the same round, the same aspect of the playoffs. Like, what's Philly like? Is it like you hear, like they boo Santa Claus and they
Yeah.
throw batteries at people and it's like it's rough. That the one fight I ever actually saw that happened at Lambeau Field, which never happens, was an Eagles
Was an
fan
Eagles fan.
punched a Packers fan first, and then it had to get broken up. So
That makes sense.
that's my one experience with Eagles fans as far as at a football game. It was at Lambeau, and he still picked a fight. So I didn't know. Any playoff.
I think Eagles
Or
fans want to fight and be like they want to go at somebody. So
yeah,
like I've said that if you can turn them on the Eagles, it is a possibility. Like if the
yeah,
Eagles are laying an egg, they will turn on their own team. David
big
Akers even
an egg.
like talked about it. I had him on the radio this week, and he was like, "Yeah, I've been cussed out by my own fans because we weren't playing well." So it is tough. You from the minute you see the stadium and you pull off, like there are people yelling at you, hitting the bus, like throwing food at you at the bus. Like it's an aggressive atmosphere, and you feel it from the get go. And just like how the stadium's set, all the stuff, it just you kind of feel it's like Gotham City. You're going
Gotham
into this,
City.
yeah, into this environment that's just kind of like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a battle. Everyone's going to be a little rough on you. All right, get your mind right. Kids saying things they shouldn't while you're kicking into the net, all the stuff. And so you kind of get your mind right for that. And then you can take them out of it though. Like there are moments in time where we've gone into that stadium and any away stadium for the most part, if you can jump on their team, like especially in like an environment like that, they will pull back. and they'll turn their attention to their own sideline. So that's the ultimate goal for this Packers team is go out there, try to get out early on this team and try to take that fan base out of there so you don't feel like it's, they're just riding high. The year we won the Super Bowl, we had to make an interception in the end zone to keep them from winning.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
Tramon Williams picks it off. So that game was electric the whole time. Like their fans were not out of it. It was a tough win. So I hope for these guys that they don't have to go through that. But at the end of the day, that's the juice the playoffs bring, and that's kind of what you
Right.
that's what you want. That's like
Oh, it's
that's the
elevated.
playoff atmosphere and the experience that you get into.
Exactly, because then the victory is so much more rewarding after that too.
Yeah, leaving an away like stadium, especially in the playoffs, coming away with a win is there's a little extra to that. Whenever you
Oh, yeah.
go and you think about the next week, you're like, all right, we're battle tested now. So if you can get one, Packers showed it last year. They beat the Cowboys. They looked like they had a chance against the Niners and they just couldn't get it done, which seems to be maybe LaFleur's Achilles heel is the 49ers. So maybe this
Always.
path, this path makes a little more sense for this Packers team.
It is
So who
funny,
you
like,
picking? Who you
well,
picking?
Packers, yeah,
Oh, okay.
all the way.
I didn't. Okay.
I'm with you. I can't pick the Eagles again. Like again, we'll have. I always have like a personal reason why I'm picking a team, and then I have my actual reasons as well. Like as far as actual statistics, but
Yeah.
yeah, uh, Packers are winning this one. It's going to be one of those things, like you said. Like they're not like the Eagles aren't being talked about, sure, but then I think the quarterback situation, regardless of which way it goes, it's gonna change what they do. And I think that's into the Packers' advantage. So
Are there any other NFL playoff games that intrigue you this weekend?
I have always been one of those people that I am Packers heavy focused, and then the
Yeah.
others I'm a casual viewer of. So I don't think there's anything that's gonna be of note for me other than that. But it's always interesting too, just because what you were talking about earlier. It's like this year, which happens fairly often, is you have these wild card teams that are actually better than the division winners as far as like records go. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's interesting to see how those play out. So I'll be keeping an eye out and watching all the games. But the one that I'm always heavy on is the Packers. Like that's the ride or die.
Yeah, there's obviously the division game like Vikings, Rams, which there's a question mark too with as we kind of our thoughts and prayers go out to all the people affected by the fires there in California. That game might get moved to Arizona. There's been talks about some adjustment there. But that's obviously an intriguing one for the Packers fans. Just seeing if this Vikings team is legit and if they can go out and beat a Rams team that can be good when they want to be good. Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
like they are one of the best whenever it's all clicking, and then they can just kind of look like a team that doesn't deserve to be there. So depending on what type of Rams team shows up, will dictate what that game looks like. Commanders Buccaneers Sunday night game. It's an intriguing one. Do you like Baker Mayfield?
No.
Okay.
Simple as that. He was a Texas Tech quarterback for a little while, and then he went to Oklahoma, won the
Yeah.
Heisman. But yeah, so
I don't know. I like this Tampa Bay like Buccaneer version of Baker Mayfield.
it's
I
definitely
like
way
his
better for sure.
I
Yeah,
like his kind of
I like
juice. I like
Tampa Bay Baker is pretty
okay.
good.
So we like Tampa Baker.
Tampa
Okay.
Baker, yeah,
Tampa Baker. Okay. That's his new name for us.
Tampa Baker.
Uh but then that's on the other side is Jaden Daniels. And he's everyone's excited about him. Do you think about like is there any feeling for me like a rookie quarterback, all the stuff like yeah, experience and all those things are important. Mine is like more the team. So like the Commanders to me are a team that should be watched and can be reckoned with in this playoffs. If they get a win against the Buccaneers, watch out for the Commanders. The Buccaneers can kind of snuff out that fire that they have and keep them from getting this first round win. Okay, that's great. Like, and that could happen. But if the Commanders find a way to win this game, they are going to be a team that could really make some noise in this playoffs.
Yeah,
They've been on fire. They've been
they
tough.
have been. It's a surprising year too, which is always like one of the thing is that momentum that that again, from the fan perspective, like seeing your team win whenever they kind of weren't supposed to, it gets people fired up. It brings people in that might not have been interested the year before or
Do
2
the
years before.
Commanders have fans? That's another question.
That's a good not.
I
I'm not
don't.
100% sure on
Every
that.
time we played them as a
I've
Packer, like it was 75% Packer fans. So I'm
I've
not
I've
sure if they
actually
do.
never met a Commanders fan ever
I
in my
don't know
life.
if I really don't know if I have either. Like I think
Commanders
they
fans,
hide.
if
They
you're out
hide.
there,
Yeah.
this is a safe place. You can come
You
out.
can
It's
come
okay.
and listen. We can, talk to us. We're fine. We're
It'll be
a
okay.
safe space.
It's a
You
trust
can be a
tree in the nest. You
you
can
can
be with
pretend to
us.
be a Packer fan and then like secretly be a Commander fan. That's fine.
It's okay. We're
That's
cool
fine.
with that. Yeah.
We'll accept you.
Yeah.
Okay, so talking about, let's shift gears a little bit. We'll continue to dive into playoff talk, regardless if Packers get this win or not on Sunday. We'll talk about some more of that next week on the shows. Just kind of keep breaking down, running through the playoffs as it gets tighter. I'm not like I talk about the AFC very little, even on my radio
Right.
show, because
Yeah.
it's like, okay, we'll talk about them when the Super Bowl comes. I'm not really
That's
a
it.
big AFC follower for the most part. I've never really been interested, so we'll just leave them to do their thing and we'll see what happens.
We're not interested
Um,
in that.
yeah, maybe someday we'll talk more about it.
Yeah.
So let's shift to the soccer world.
Yep.
So we talked about it on the last episode, and Liverpool got beat in the
Tough one.
Carabao Cup.
Tough
The
one.
energy drink cup, they didn't bring the energy. They looked they looked lethargic. They kind of didn't look like
Yeah.
they wanted it as bad as the fans probably wanted it. I know the
They never
fans
do.
want the cup.
They never do. The
Do you
fans want
notice
it.
that, Reese, as a fan, that sometimes it feels like the players don't want it as bad as you do?
I kind of do actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I know that's not the case, but the perspective is there of like, come on, guys, like let's go. Like
What were we watching? Like,
just
was
like
that the
score.
Arsenal deal? Was it the
It's just always like the thing, like they're just like the fans really
fans
want
wanted
this
it?
one. Like the players just gotta want it as much as the fans. It's like they're out there, they're trying. It's not like they're not trying.
Fans wanted it.
There's just so much passion, you know. I guess like in a way, it's like these fans grow up in this world rooting for this one team forever. And then these players, you know, from other countries and other, you know, backgrounds and other boyhood clubs like come
Yeah.
in. And yeah, so like to an extent I understand, but it's an outrageous claim. These are professionals. They want to win every game. And they're
That
trying.
perspective though does make sense where it's like, okay, you're not like you don't just change fandom. Like you don't
No.
grow up going like being a fan of a team and then it's just like, all right, I'm done with them. I'm going to
Right.
move on to another team.
Right.
Like a player gets paid. They want to do a job. At the end of the day, you lose a cup game, you lose a championship, whatever. Like it stings, it hurts. Like you
Mhm.
want to win and you want to like improve your stock, as a player and all those things, and you want the fans to like you, but you can go sign another contract with a team and
Yeah.
you're going to be a fan of that team as a player because they're paying you and because it's all those
That's
things.
fair.
Fandom is runs so deep
It's forever.
that I think fans want to see players. And I think that's why Packers, Liverpool, these clubs where they have a fan base that is so ingrained and dedicated to those clubs that they want to see and they want their players to have that same approach.
They want
right?
that same fight. They want their players to like embody the club and what they are. And that's where like the, you know, Liverpool players are like Liverpool is rough. It's like hardworking,
Yeah.
like blue collar people
Blue
that are
collar.
it's tough. It's tough up there. It's the weather's hard, all the things. And so like they want their players to embody it. And they have some scousers on the team, people from Liverpool. And
Yeah.
so that's why, you know, some of those are fan favorites, so on and so forth. But yeah, like so this game, Carabao Cup, Tottenham wins 1-0. Some little bit of controversy in there is like a player got a yellow card and then later on had a hard tackle, which probably should have been a second yellow, which you get a yellow for a caution. If you get two of them, it becomes a red card and you're out that game as well as the following one. And
I think they
it's,
need to implement that in the NFL and
I
football.
think so too.
Just maybe not even a game, not a game, but like I think if it's like you get a personal foul, you're out for that half, or you're down a man.
Oh, yeah, we've
You
talked
just have
about
to play
that.
down
Down
a
a
man.
man's rough, but, like, maybe just that person can't come back on for, like, that
Down a
drive or
man would
something,
be amazing, like a hockey style. You get like a
Power
2 minute
play.
penalty where you have to play with 10 men for at least a
What if you did
series.
at, like, one play maybe, like, just that next play, it's 10 people, like, you just
Yeah,
got a guy you got a
certain
guy
type
down.
of penalties.
Ooh,
Ooh, I like
I
that.
actually like this a lot. This is
Okay.
good.
We'll
Commish.
keep we'll
We'll
keep
talk to the commish. We'll talk to
implementing
the
some
commish.
new rules, and we'll submit our requests to the rules committee. Come spring.
Yeah, but yeah, so Liverpool loses 1-0 to the Tottenham Hotspurs, and it's 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 not the end of the world. But what is funny about it is the Liverpool coach Arne Slot has come in, and he has so far this year. They just lost this game. It was their second game of 2025, and this loss equals the same amount of losses they had all of 2024, which is
It's insane.
outrageous.
I know.
The coach Arne Slot lost one time in 2024, and now, like just a week and a half in, he has equaled that total, which is like a funny thing to talk about. But
Never
things,
want your team to lose, but I think like with the streak and like where they've been, it's almost like good
yeah, just
to
kind of get it
lose.
out, like get it
And
out, like
especially when you have two legs, it's like, all right, you lose a game, you have an opportunity to still get to the finals of this cup, but it's not a league game. It doesn't count and all
right.
that. So it's like, all right, whew, all right, you broke some of that streak. Now let's act like that. Now let's run into the Premier League and keep that streak going forward.
Yeah, and what's interesting is so like in the this cup and how they work in some of these like, cup formats is they lost, sure, but they play them twice. So how it works is there's a first leg and a second leg. So you play one team plays home and then the other team plays away the next time, like so this time it was played at Tottenham. So they were the home team. Now they have to go to Anfield and play away at Liverpool. So that's like the good thing is you get that home field advantage, but then the other team gets it too. So you
Yeah.
kind of have both sides of it. And then it's a aggregate
Liver
score. So you
Liverpool's gonna
combine
win
the two scores.
3-0 at
Yeah.
Anfield. I mean,
And
that's
that's why it's not the end of the world. You lose by one. Sure, they scored like real late in the game, but you're down just 1-0. Now you're going to your home field with your home supporters, and now you get to play them again. And so this will be the third time they played each other in like a month, but that's just how it works sometimes. And so that's what I really do enjoy. It's a playoff format now, but you get to play each team twice. So like you think about that again in the NFL, it's like some weeks you'll have the last week they'll play a team, and then the first round of the playoffs they'll play them
it's
again.
tough.
And how hard is it to beat them twice? How hard is it to beat a team three times?
Yeah.
That rarely happens. So that's what's fun about this is it's an aggregate combined score. So again, just imagine like, yeah, the Packers played the Eagles earlier this year, and now they play them again, and then you combine the scores like to see who actually wins. Like that's what this is basically. So
That's an
it's
interesting take.
so on the kickoff of the second game, it's 1-0. Like just start like
Yeah.
from the beginning. Like again how you grew up and you're like, okay, we'll give you guys 3 goals and then
Yeah.
we'll
It's
start.
like
Like
handicapping, right? Yeah.
yeah, that's what it is. So it's kind of interesting. So that leg will be coming up soon. And yeah, Liverpool down 1-0, but it's I'm the good thing is how they've been playing. It's not the worst thing in the world. 1-0. It's been worse.
Yeah.
Three
They'll be
nothing to
all right.
Barcelona came back and won at Anfield. So hey, it's all good.
Yeah, and so yeah, a lot of season left. Liverpool is they kind of 2025 hasn't like started off the way that they were hoping.
Right.
They tied against Man United, lose to Tottenham, but I think they're going to right the ship. They'll be all right. I want to hit on
Well, they
my
play
my
they play like every 3 or 4 days this month. So
it's
like,
crazy.
it
The amount of
just keeps going.
games.
There's no downtime. Just keep going and keep churning and keep grinding. So,
Well, that's
but yeah.
something when you're good in the Premier League, you play so many games. What
Mhm.
was it? Was that last year, 2 years ago? They played like 64 or 70 games, something like
Yeah,
that.
I think
Between the Champions League and all the cup games, and like they made it to the finals of every one of the cups in the Champions League. They won, top of the like Premier League, and they played 70 games.
it's
It's
70. I
insane.
think it was like 81. It's
81.
70 games in a season, 90 minutes. You're running like 8
They
miles
don't
in a
take
game.
many games off either. It's not
No.
like the starters are just like, all right, I'm gonna
Mm-mm.
manage and rest. They're playing pretty much every game. Some of these cup games are nice because they can get some young guys in, especially in the early rounds. These later rounds, most of the guys are playing though.
Oh, big time, big time. So, yeah,
So I saw
let's,
this thing. So did is this true? Did Everton fire their manager? Do you think they hoping to not get relegated? What would that mean as a
is that gonna
Liverpool fan
solve?
if Everton got relegated? That
I
would
can't
be
tell you
unbelievable.
how hard I was rooting for that. Like, basically, the past 2 years has come down to,
It's
like, the
been
last
close.
couple games, and, like, it's so funny, and that's what's always interesting. Like, Sean Dyche has a history of being, like, a pretty good coach at other clubs, and so, like,
Do
you
you think he's
firing
happy?
him, no one's happy
I don't know. He might
at
be like, "Oh,
Everton.
thank goodness." I mean,
Oh,
I
that.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
He's like, "I'm
now
out of here. Thank goodness."
probably. Now he's not responsible when they go down. Yeah, like, he's kinda just jumping off the ship as it's sinking.
Exactly.
But that's always the
Oh,
interesting thing, like, what is a failing team? What's gonna happen? You're bringing in a new coach, new tactics, new strategy. He's gonna wanna play new players, but
I
he's
know.
stuck with them. Like, now what?
Yeah. Try not to get relegated, please. That would be horrible for us. Like, good luck.
Yeah, yeah,
We're not
don't mess up.
maybe I mean, it is like January, maybe they're gonna looking at getting some players, get the transfer window rolling, but that will be one that we'll wanna watch because as Liverpool fans, Everton is the arch nemesis. We love to hate them. They're just like that team that's right across the way. They're very close right now. Their stadiums are gonna be a little further apart, but, my hope for us. So I'm gonna just give a little plug for my League Two team, Walsall, top of the table right now, on
Up
a
the
roll,
Saddlers.
playing good. Up the Saddlers. Follow them, watch them if you haven't checked them out. We will be going across the pond if they get promoted up. That is
Yeah.
going to happen. I'll say it right now, Reese. I'll buy your plane ticket to come with me.
Get
So,
out of
yep,
town.
yep.
Oh
Because
my
we'll
gosh,
we'll
what a
have to
day.
do a show from Poundland Stadium, Bescott
Poundland.
Stadium in Walsall. That will be done.
You gonna take me to Poundland? What'd you say?
Oh my gosh.
What did I say? No, what'd you say?
First
I was
inappropriate comment of
what?
the podcast.
It's at the end.
Like, but that was my favorite thing, and I'm such a child. As soon as like we purchased this club and we got the kit sponsor and the
Oh my
stadium,
gosh.
and I was like, "What is the sponsor?
I can't do
Poundland?"
it. My brain just instantly
We're
goes to
just
super
like,
immature.
and we're going to Poundland, and everyone in the Packers organization, like I would go in the training room. I had the whole training staff. I got them all jerseys. We were like
Yep.
all supporters, and they loved that we were sponsored by Poundland as well. And my fantasy football name is Dave from Poundland because that's on Poundland's site. There was a guy, and his name tag was Dave. So I'm Dave from
And
Pound. Oh no, sorry, not Dave. Sorry, it's Barry from
you don't even
Poundland.
know what your fantasy
Barry
team
from
how'd you
Poundland. It
do in
changed.
fantasy? You
It
don't even know what
changed.
the team name was.
I don't focus. All
Well,
right.
what is Poundland?
It is the Dollar General. It's like a dollar store. So
Not
it's
as
not as
provocative
funny.
as it sounds. Yeah.
No, but
Just
we'll have
it's a translation issue basically as well.
it's literally the dollar, the pound.
Yeah.
It's like go to the dollar store in England. So not as exciting as your mind wants to take it, but
Exciting.
it does get you going. Well, buddy, we recorded a show in the middle of the day. It wasn't
Yeah,
at night.
I'm proud of us.
I know. I'm not about to fall asleep. I might fall asleep. I might take a nap. It's been a
Oh
long
my
morning for this guy, but
It's tough. It's tough, man. It's like an hour or 2 of work every day for you. You gotta, yeah, go ahead and
hey,
rest
some of
up.
us some of us aren't built for this. This
I
is
know.
this is real life now. But
But
dude, that was
I do like your All Blacks hat, and we'll have to talk about New Zealand and the All Blacks more. If you don't know the All Blacks, they're a rugby team. It's the national team of New Zealand, and they are literally the number 1 most winning successful sports team ever to exist.
yeah,
And yeah, maybe one day I'll do the haka. That could
that's
happen.
the plan.
I learned it in high school, and I've never forgotten that. I have embodied the haka. I have done it in New Zealand, and I even have a greenstone from New Zealand, a
Oh,
Punamu. So I'm all New Zealand, man. I'm all
you're the guy. You are
I'm
a
the guy.
guy of New Zealand, but I will make you do the haka at some point. We'll have a wager or something, and like when you lose, you'll have to do the haka.
Perfect.
But hey, thanks everybody for joining our second podcast of the week and in the new year. So we're going to keep this thing rolling. And if you want to subscribe, please do follow us at Kicking It with the Crosbys on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. We are posting this on YouTube as well. So enjoy the show. Keep following. Let us know if there's anything you want to hear or want us to talk about. We will start having some guests on to get into some different topics, especially as the NFL season comes to an end and we're not all football all the time. Maybe we'll get Reese to say some more movie quotes because he's being pretty reserved over there. I'm gonna have to get him out of his shell. But appreciate y'all joining. Enjoy the show and have a great weekend. Later.